Do you have like, is there a main focus for your campaign? Like a lot of the people on the left, they're running on solely almost anti-Trump platforms. Some people on the right are running exclusively on either deportations, or the fiscal conservatives are running mostly on the debt. Is there a specific platform or focus you're trying to run on?
So uh, I've got a handful of things that I want to get out, and it's bigger picture than just me. Uh, and I know you try to be bipartisan, but I'm going to be a little bit Republican at you for a minute. Uh, I worry about what's next for the Republican Party, right? Every political movement runs out of steam. Every single one. Like every political movement in history has ran out of steam. You accomplish your goals, you meet whatever you're trying to do. Your constituents, your voters, your supporters are no longer incentivized to go out and vote when it's inconvenient for them, to donate their time or their money to the cause. They've achieved what they want, right? And on the flip side of things, as you get further and further, into an opposing, political movement, they're, quote unquote, losing, right? So they're going to be more incentivized. Uh, in the Republican Party, there is such a focus on, toe the line, that everybody's looking down at the line and not looking at what comes next. And that's a way that you run your party into the ground, or into a short stop. Right? We saw that on the Democratic side. Like, what did the Democrats stand for other than not Trump? It didn't work well, right?
No,
They didn't
not at all.
have a platform. They didn't have a focus. So in addition to running for office, I'm also championing a constitutional Republican movement. Right? I think we all can agree that we need kind of a focus and a return to constitutional factors. Right? That should always be at play, and we've drifted away from some of that. And not just with Trump, with several past administrations, we've seen a lot of executive orders replacing legislation. Right? We make decisions by executive order now, which generally should just be like, hey, here's how to execute these policies or these laws in the executive branch, but they become like policy now. So we're doing policy by executive order, and the legislature's not doing their job. And other than the one big beautiful bill, which again was mostly just handed down to them from the White House, the Congress has not done much at all. And we're getting used to having rule by executive order rather than rule by law, which also opens up the fact for judges to have a lot more leeway than they're supposed to have, right? Judges are supposed to be bound by, the law. They can have this much wiggle room in there, but executive orders aren't law. So judges can make way more decision on their personal preferences. Like politics, your political preferences as a judge should be so constrained that you can't even really like put one partisan way or another. It's just, okay, I'll go a little bit this way, but again, you're bound by the law. But when we're not passing the laws, that's a problem, right? And so we're not having these checks and balance systems. And really, like, if there's an executive order that is, a national policy, it needs to be followed by legislation, period. I mean, like, either going, hey, yep, here we're going to codify this, or, whoa, the legislative branch really doesn't like that, so we're going to, create a law which is going to overturn it. Checks and balances. That how our constitution or government is established. And on the Republican side of things like not looking ahead, like at some point there's going to be a Democrat back in office, right? Back in the White House. It's going to happen. And, whether that's in 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, whatever. And the way things are right now, that, the Democratic president, which probably won't be a moderate Democrat, it'll probably be somebody like AOC, maybe Bernie's if he, is not retired or whatever by that point. Um, and they're going to come in and they're just going to boom, all these like rule by decree and wipe out everything else that was just done, slam everything over to the far left and destroy everything in the middle. And, our democracy is very strong and resilient, but you can only take tacking to the extremes so long. I mean, we're already seeing weakening of our democratic institutions. And at some point, slamming back to the left and slamming back to the right and everything is going to like cause our democratic institutions to fail, which is why the return to focus on constitutionalism matters. And on the Republican side, if we really make sure we're doing legislation after the midterms and we're following executive orders with legislation, right? This reestablishes those norms. It reestablishes the check and balances that are supposed to happen, and provides basically an insurance policy for our party for if there is, a Democratic win in 2028, right? And really, and I know I'm a little biased, but like really, we should all want to see not a giant swing and slam to the left after 2028. I would like to see things get back to, like the 80s and early 90s where you had like cordial and friendly competition. It wasn't visceral like it has become more and more and more since like the mid 90s. It's we should all want the same thing, right? We all want to do good for America and Americans. The question should be, oh, what's the best way to get to that point? And that's what you debate and run on and all of this, not that those people are evil. They want to destroy America. Those people are fascists. They want to destroy or enslave America or whatever. Like this is not what American democracy is supposed to be. And I want to see us get back to that. I think most of the country wants to see us get back to that, and so that is an overall goal of my candidacy. And if I can get into some of the more specific policy details, if you'd like, but I'll let you have some thoughts on the big picture stuff.